Welcome to the Choosing Optimism podcast. This is our second episode. We're very excited for all the stuff that we had last time with the history of Optimist International and interviewing Mr. Dave Bruns on a history of Optimist International. I am your host, Shane Newman, along with my co-hosts, Mr. Russ Thomas and Mr. Nick Prilliman. We have two featured guests today that we'll be talking to. We're going to talk to our Optimist International president, Mr. Mark Weinsoff, out of California, and a club president from my zone and district here in the Alberta, Montana, Saskatchewan, Northern Wyoming, in Zone 1 from the Blackfoot Valley Optimist Club, Mr. Shane Lindsay. Thank you guys for being on today. We appreciate you coming on. Last time we started, I told people that I like inspirational quotes, but they're just kind of fun to keep people going through stuff. And I found a couple, but I wanted to start with: some people see a hopeless end while others see an endless hope. And I think as optimism, we see the endless hope that we can provide to our communities that we have going forward. We're excited about all the projects that some of the clubs have been doing, and that's part of what we're doing with this podcast, is to feature stuff that's been happening across the United States. Turn it over to the co-host. We'll kind of get started here. Russ, what do you have to add to our discussion today?
Well, I got to tell you, I'm pretty excited. As always, it's kind of hard to keep me down. I get excited, but I understand we got a couple of great topics today. Going to be talking about rallying and the importance of rallying, and how do we get everybody rallied together behind a common cause to do the right stuff. So it sounds pretty easy a lot of times, but sometimes it takes some finessing to get it done. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm really looking forward to Shane seeing what he's got going in his club and finding out where we go. So I'll pass it on to Nick if you don't mind. We'll just we can get started.
Absolutely.
Well, good. Thanks, Russ. Well, one of the things that I'm really excited about today is that we're talking about the creed, and of course, the first tenet of the Optimist Creed, which I have a real problem with sometimes, trying to live that particular tenet. Promise yourself to be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind. So I think it's a great one to start off with, and I can't wait to hear what some of the rest of our guests have to say about how they use this creed or use this tenet of our creed to make us make their optimism come true. So I'm really excited to hear about that.
Yeah, for those of the people that are just tuning in and did listen to our first episode or first podcast, we are going to start breaking down our Optimist Creed. It's something that we all live by and repeat. My club repeats after the end of every meeting. And it's something that you can take in your personal life, because I know one of the things we talked about last time was that we actually choose to be optimistic. And I think that if you choose to be optimistic every single day, that just makes your life that much better. So with that, I'd like to introduce our international president, Mr. Mark Weinsoff, from California. And Mark, you probably don't remember this, but the first time I met you was when we were on a Zoom call for Optimist International's convention last year. And I was on there with my governor-elect, who was Marilyn Bushell. And I got to visit with Mark and kind of tell him some of the stuff we'd done, and was very excited about that. So Mark, one of the things we did last time with our guests is kind of told our optimist story. Before we get on to what your theme is for the next quarter, how did you become an optimist? What made you join an optimist club?
I originally joined an optimist club because the Optimist Creed. I had been visiting with this one of the members of an optimist club for years at my bank. I was branch manager of a bank, and he came in every day to make deposits. And while he did that, we chatted about the world and his family and sports and everything. And over 3 years, he never talked about his Optimist Club. Well, his club president kept asking him to bring somebody as a guest for breakfast. And one day he decided, well, I guess I'm going to ask Mark. And I walked in there for breakfast the next week. And what did I see but the Optimist Creed? And I signed up on the spot. And then a little bit after that, I found out about all the great things they did for youth and making our community a better place. And I tell you, it's truly made my life better joining this organization. It's brought me friends and relationships. It's brought me meaning and purpose, and it's really brought positive things to my life, and I'm a much better person for having joined. And I'm so glad that Eddie Marquez asked me to come to his breakfast for free one day.
Didn't know it was probably the most expensive breakfast of your life at that point.
Yes, I suppose I paid for it with time and money since then, but I've loved every minute of it.
And I know that being international president is quite a high honor, and we're very excited that we have a past international president on, and then obviously you're our current president right now. And one of the things we talked about last time was how when Optimus International got started, we had a pandemic that we were going through, and so it's amazing how much things have changed with technology. I know of being a president, they have themes every quarter. What are some of the thoughts you brought to the organization, and moving forward, what do we have planned for the next 2 quarters?
Well, the last 12 months it has surely tested Optimus' ability to be so strong that nothing could disturb our peace of mind. And the challenges we faced have really been momentous. But I truly believe our society and our organization can rally in the aftermath of these challenges and press on to the greater achievements of the future. So we have chosen the theme Rally for this quarter. And I truly believe, you mentioned how the original 8 Optimus clubs got together to form Optimist International, and they set as their purpose the sharing of optimism around the world, with the belief that that would improve the lives of everyone. And we need to refocus on that mission to bring optimism to more communities and to more people around the world, and be a beacon of hope. We are the true beacon of hope for people who have been experiencing difficulties over the last 12 months, and we can do that. Now, we've lost many clubs and members during that time, and so it's even more important than ever that we reach out to new communities, form new clubs, and bring new optimism with us wherever we go. And so that's why we've chosen the theme Rally. We want people to rally and choose optimism for themselves and share that optimism with other people as we come out of this pandemic and find new ways to do help our communities going forward as things open up. We've really missed the opportunities for human contact and the healing benefits of even a simple hug. And as we get to move forward, it's going to be up to Optimus to show people that this world is still a great place and we can make it even better.
No, that's exactly true. And I think people are going to be looking for some way to help their community moving forward. And Optimism is a great way to be with people and fundraise and do a lot of fun things while you're at the same time. I know that we're planning on having an international convention, hopefully in Atlanta. Will you tell us a little bit about that and how exciting it is to be part of an international convention?
Certainly, and we understand that not everybody will be able to attend in person. I just mentioned those feelings of wanting to have that simple handshake or hug, and some people will have the opportunity to do that within the proper guidelines that are being offered by our health agencies and our government. But and we also will recognize that many people will not be able to travel, so we will have a virtual experience as well. So the people who cannot be there live in Atlanta will have the opportunity to experience the same engagement without the hugs, I suppose, that of the people in Atlanta. And so we will have a wonderful keynote speaker. Our keynote speaker, of course, I'm reaching down because I want to pull up this book called Broadcasting Happiness. And this is written by Michelle Gielan, who is a really fantastic broadcaster of happiness. And she is going to talk with us about how Optimus can move forward and make this world a more positive place. Essentially, she talks about how the news of the world focuses on the negative, and we need people to focus on the positive. And I believe Optimist International can be one of the main megaphones and amplification of that message. And so she's going to speak to us at the convention, and everybody virtually and in person will have that opportunity to hear her, as well as many other training and leadership development opportunities that we always provide, and of course the inspiration for those live, and we'll have a virtual method for this too. We will have a gratitude wall where people can post things they're grateful for, because one of the easiest ways to bring happiness to yourself is to be grateful for the things you have, even in difficult times. And then we will also have a happiness wall where people will share ways that they will share happiness with others. So we have some exciting things planned for you, and it's really going to be a great event, whether you're in person or online.
And for those optimists that are listening, if you have not been to an international convention, I highly recommend it. I'm sure Russ and Nick can speak to this as well. The feeling of energy when you're in a room with the same people as the same mission as you, and you're all sitting there, is just absolutely mind-blowing. My first convention, I was so blown away at all the things that can go, or all the things that can go right when you're in that room. It was absolutely amazing. And thankfully for technology, you're able to attend virtually to see what's going on. So if you don't have the opportunity, but you want to see what's going on, then maybe that'll inspire you to go to an international convention in the future. Because I can't say enough good things about it, because I had such a great time in mine with my friends from all over our district, and then meeting new people all over in other districts was that much fun for me, just to be there to see all that. So I'm very, very excited moving forward. And Mark, it's been, like I said, this year has been crazy, but I've really enjoyed serving as a lieutenant governor this year. Russ, do you have any comments or questions we want to add moving forward, or Nick, anybody?
I got to tell you, as I said at the beginning, I get pretty excited about this. And when you talk about the Optimus International Convention and our theme going forward, right, when you're talking about rallying, I can't think of a better way to get your mindset right, to get all excited going forward than attending the Optimus International convention. I mean, that's when you're around people. That's when you're seeing people that you may not know or you've always wanted to meet, because we are a close family of, I don't know, 70,000 people or so. That's pretty close family, right? But you find things that's going on there that help us stay focused, help us stay committed. And it's not that we come up with some radical new idea. It's that we start to believe in the things that we have and what we've done. And living the Optimist Creed really is an example for all of us around us. So it teaches us to stay the course for optimism. And you may hate it when you throw that mic over to me, Shane. I'll take it, because I always got something to say. Right, Nick? I know
That's right. That's right. Well, I've been going to international conventions for over 30 years, and every time I go, each one is different, and I cannot wait till Atlanta happens, because first of all, it's my hometown, and this is the second time that we've come, at least in the time that I've been involved in Optimism, and we've got a great I guess you'd say show put on. We're going to put on for the members that come, and as Shane said, it's an absolute wonderful experience, because you get to see how our organization operates. You get to, there's new ideas, there's all kinds of things. And over the years, what has happened is that I have developed friends all over the world. And that would happen because of the international convention, because you meet those people there, and the next thing you know, you're visiting with them or talking with them on the phone or by Zoom or whatever. And it's just a great, great experience. And so I can't talk enough about how exciting and how great it is.
It's going to be the greatest pep rally in the world. And we are, as we complete the rally quarter, and we really know that the worst of the pandemic is behind us. And so it's really time for us to rally forward and spring forward with great hope and positive vision and make this world a better place.
I couldn't have said it better myself, you guys. This is just, I'm so excited for what's around the bend, because we're optimists, because there's always that endless hope that we have, that we inspire with all the things that we do. I'm so excited for the things we have going. And so, which leads us into our next thing, this topic of the creed. Moving forward, like I said, our Optimist Club that I'm a member of, we repeat the creed every ending of a meeting. Our president picks a member of the membership there to lead us in the creed after we've had our meeting and all the stuff we've accomplished that day. And the first line is the creed is promise yourself to be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind. And I was on a phone call. I called Shane just to talk about what his club had been doing, because Lieutenant Governor, as I am in Zone 1 here, is supposed to check in with clubs and just see how things are going. And he kept telling me all the things that they were doing, and I'd only heard a few of them. And when I talked to Shane, I said, I also called to ask, can we interview you? Because you guys have not let the pandemic stop you. And he said, well, I want you to know I'm not big into the OI stuff. We're just making our community better. And I said, that's exactly what we need right now for what we're looking for. These stories of these clubs that are actually getting stuff done. And you guys have been very active. So I'd like to introduce our next guest, who is a personal friend of mine, used to be a member of my club here in Great Falls. He left for a little bit and came back to Montana and decided to start a club. Mr. Shane Lindsay. Shane, it's good to have you on. How the Blackfoot Valley Optimist Club got started.
Sure. As Shane had mentioned, I was a member of the Uptown Club in Great Falls for a couple of years before I went out of state for work. The gentleman who got me started there, John Gregory's obviously been very active in Optimist for a long time. He's the one that got me started in the club, and that's how I originally joined. He was one of my hunting partners, and we were sitting around hunting one day when birds weren't flying, and he started talking to me about optimism, and so I ended up joining that club. And then lo and behold, when I came back that first winter, John and I found ourselves in the hunting blind again, and he said, we just started talking about optimism, and he said, what do you think about starting a club in Lincoln? And I said, it's funny you should mention that. I was gone for almost 5 years, and one of the things that I really missed when I was down in Colorado was optimism. So from that conversation in the hunting blind in December or January, we kept talking about it periodically over the next few months. And then in about March or April of 2019, we decided to host our first informational meeting up here in Lincoln. Over the course of the next 2 months, we had probably half a dozen meetings. Little community of 1,100 people, so it's not hard to get word around to everybody in town what we got going. And anyhow, we like I said, I think we had about half a dozen meetings, and then lo and behold, we ended up chartering a club on June 20th of 2019, which I remember the exact date because it just happens to be my anniversary. So my wife was lucky enough to be a founding member of our Optimist Club on our anniversary.
Yeah, and I was very fortunate to be the president that sponsored your club. And John came to me and said, hey, we have this going. I said, well, we'll sign the check. Just get it going. I know this is exciting because we had a lot of stuff rocking and rolling. And then lo and behold, of course, the next year we had the pandemic. But I know you guys stayed strong moving through with your fundraisers. I know you guys got a little creative there. Tell us about a few of the fundraisers you guys did when you first started your club.
Sure, will do. So again, we chartered in June of 19. So obviously we weren't even a year old when the pandemic hit. So there was some quasi concern on my part. Again, at that point, I knew we had a good, strong, solid club. We had the right people in, so I knew we weren't going to fall apart or disband or anything. But we had started that year. Again, we're a small town, 1,100 people. Weren't exactly sure. Started throwing ideas out for fundraisers and stuff. We did the first year. We did a Christmas stocking raffle and a quilt raffle. And the way it started was one of our board members said, "Hey, why don't we get one of those 4-foot stockings? We'll get donations. We'll sell a few raffle tickets, and that'll be our first fundraiser." We said, "Well, that's a great idea." So we did that. Well, during that process, one of the local quilters donated a quilt. Said, "Well, rather than put it in with this Christmas stocking, why don't we do a quilt raffle too?" So anyhow, the first year we did the stocking raffle and the quilt raffle, and I want to say we raised a couple of $1,000, which again, we were excited. Again, we're a little 25 member club, and we thought that was great. It was our first time at it. we raised some money that we could get back to the kids. So it was a great thing. Well, then again, in March for us, the pandemic hits, closed everything in town down, which isn't a lot in this town. It's, you know, a dozen businesses or so, but our meeting place was one of the local restaurants. And again, they were totally closed for about a month and a half and couldn't host any meetings for a couple of months. During that time period, we had, you know, everybody was trying to go with Zoom and all of that. And as I talked to my board members and club members, we literally had, I think at that point, 2 members who didn't even have email addresses. So Zoom meetings were not probably going to go over real well for us. And I pulled the club membership, and Zoom meetings for us weren't the option. So we missed, I believe, 2 meetings. We meet monthly. We missed 2 meetings. When it came up to the 3rd one, we were lucky enough that our meeting space opened back up. Typically, we have somewhere between 10 and 15 members at our meetings, so we met the state regulations. Some folks wore masks, some folks didn't. I mean, some people sit all the way across the room. It was just basically, if you're comfortable, please come however you are. If you want to wear a mask, you can wear a mask. We were in a restaurant, so it wasn't mandated. So we just tried to make everybody as comfortable as possible. And again, our meeting attendance didn't drop off. So we started holding our meetings again. One of the things, we had a big fundraiser plan for Memorial Day, which was an ATV scavenger hunt, similar to a poker run. We were going to sell tickets at $10 a piece, hoping to sell, you know, between 500 and 1,000 of these as a fundraiser. Well, those plans all got put on hold because of COVID. We couldn't host even outdoor stuff at that point, so we had to back burner that one. Fast forward to Thanksgiving of last year, again, things in Montana had opened up some by that point, although they were just getting ready to close back down again. But one of the members came up with an idea of, well, seems how we didn't do a scavenger hunt, we haven't raised any money, let's do a turkey dinner raffle. Well, tell us about a turkey dinner raffle. So we actually, long story short is, we ended up getting 5 turkey dinners, 4 of which we raffled off, 1 of which we gave to our senior center here. The majority of those, the total cost to the club was under $100 by the time we had people step up and donate, you know, turkeys and fixins and all of that. We ended up raising in the neighborhood of, I think, around $1,500 on that, which I thought was great. And again, we gave away 5 turkey dinners. Well, then when it came time for the Christmas time fundraising one again, my wife had actually been spending a couple of months. She made a quilt for us and to donate so that we could raffle that. And then the board member who had donated the stocking before is a woodworker, and he actually built about a 3-foot by 3-foot sled out of wood, painted it all up. And so we had that wood, instead of the stocking raffle, we had the wood sled raffle and the quilt raffle. And again, long story short is, ticket sales were tougher this year, just because some of our best sellers were folks that weren't comfortable getting out during the pandemic. But between the 2 raffles this year, like I said, I think we were a little under 2,000 last year. We were almost $4,000 is what we raised this year. So again, it was just one of those things that, given the circumstances that we had, we just tried to figure out, you know, seemed to us we could still sell raffle tickets, and we figured out a way to do it. And we just kept plodding along. Again, for my club in particular, for our club, the whole Zoom meeting thing just wasn't going to work. So we just had to take a couple of months off. And then honestly, we just hit the ground running as soon as we got back.
Kind of the attitude that you didn't really know what you were doing, but you felt you had to do something.
Exactly.
What are some of the projects that you guys have helped in Lincoln there? I know that you guys have spent a lot of that money on some good things there.
Yeah, so I did write a short list of the projects. We have a little guy wrestling club here who is not affiliated with the school, and our town in particular it's a fairly low income town, so there's a lot of need in town, a lot of very giving people, but there's not a lot of extra money at times. But anyhow, they needed new wrestling uniforms, so we donated. We provided. The little wrestling club, I think, was up to 20 members, so we bought 20 uniforms for them. So that was one of the things we funded. One of our members actually started a gym here, and he sells memberships to the adults that are fairly cheap. I think it's $20 a month or something. But the reason he started that only pays for the gym. The reason he started the gym is because he believed every kid in Lincoln should have a place to come to work out. There's a game room, there's board games, but any kid in Lincoln that wants to come in can come in for free at no charge. He has a little food bank and snacks and juice drinks and all of that there. So any kid that needs a place to hang out after school is welcome to come into his place. Costs him a lot of money to heat it in the winter. So we actually, our Optimist Club, we paid for 2 months worth of the heating bills for that gym, again, to help get him through the winter. Because again, he's in any given month, he's probably providing services to, anywhere from 50 to 100 kids in our community. So that was another project that we funded. We've done, both years we've been around, we've done a shop with a cop. So basically we donate enough to provide those services. The way they do it here, it's kind of a family deal. So we donate enough money to provide at least one family from Lincoln the ability to do the shop with the cop thing here. So those were our 3 most recent projects that we helped fund.
You're helping a lot of kids in a little community there, and that's just, like I said, one of the things that promise yourself to be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind. You guys didn't let COVID stop you one bit, and that's why I wanted you on this podcast, because you were still out there, you hit the ground running, and you guys didn't quit. I mean, that's just amazing that those kids were able to go do something through the pandemic still. Russ, Nick, any questions moving forward, or how do you want to cover some of that things? I know this is just a story. Like I said, Shane and I were talking about this. I think we did the math on the phone from they paid that power bill. It was $3 a kid for 2 months. I mean, that's just pocket change. People getting a cup of coffee in the morning.
Yeah, I don't have a question for Shane, but I gotta tell you that every time I listen to another optimist tell about the wonderful things that we're doing, that him and his club really, did accomplish something that's hard to do in the state of affairs that we got today. And that's changing their mindset to go, they could have sat back and said, I'm not going to do anything, wait till we get loose. But they really chose a perspective of changing how they think about it and what they could do. And so they changed a negative situation into a very positive thing. And that's really what optimists do every day. When you wake up in the morning and you feel good about it, it's really, in this situation, we have a mindset change that we go through. And that is so phenomenal to be and hear a club like Shane's that got out there and has done those things. So I got to tell you, thanks, Shane, for doing that. And there's many other clubs that we hope here's this podcast are going to go, now's the time to step out. I mean, we could sit back and we could say we don't want to do it, right? And there's going to be a lot of great excuses why you're not. But when you can be that strong and nothing disturbs that peace of mind that you got and that intentional positivity that you got, I mean, it's going to be great, and it's a testament for all of us. Nick?
Well, I really think Shane's club really is a great example of what optimists are supposed to do, or what we talk about optimism, but practicing it and making it happen, particularly in a situation like the pandemic. I take my hat off to you guys, because I think that is exactly what we need more of, because we're not only you're showing your membership and you're showing other optimists what optimism is all about, but I think it shows people out there, because I know that for me in Atlanta and the communities I'm in, I mean, there are people that were really in in a depressed state of mind, and one of the things that I thought that really helped me was I was focusing on trying to be more optimistic, to make people when they looked at me and say, my God, with all the things going on, here's a guy that seems to be looking at the sunny side of things. And I really tried to do that. And I think that's exactly what your club was an example of. I mean, okay, so, and a matter of fact, I had the similar problem with my own club. We're not Zoom people, and the idea of having Zoom meetings just did not play. But you didn't let that get you down. You figured out a way to do it. You figured out a way to do your projects and to service the kids in your community. And I think that's that's a shining example of what we're all about. So I take my hat off to you.
And if I may go back real quick, full circle, Shane, correct me if I'm wrong. One of your members actually received help from the club that you were a part of before, the Uptown Optimist Club, when their child was sick with cancer. And she was one of the ones that was a big driver in getting this one going, and was one that, correct me if I'm wrong, kept it going for quite a while. Is that, I mean, just talk about full circle.
You are correct. She received help from the Childhood Cancer Fund at the Uptown Optimist Club. She was actually the first person I called when I decided I wanted to try and start a club. And it's actually her restaurant that we host our membership meetings on a monthly basis. And she's a board member. Yep. So you are correct, Shane.
So yeah, talk about full circle. Somebody that was touched by an Optimist Club and then had the chance to form one and hit the ground running and help a community. And I mean, it just completes that full circle. Promise yourself that nothing can disturb your peace of mind. I mean, that just, it's a full circle, and it's amazing how many of these small stories like that just interconnect moving forward.
I was just going to say, I think it's very appropriate, at least for me to be on this call today, that we're starting to go through the creed, because I just assumed every club said the creed at the end of their meetings. I'm not sure if they do or not, but we also do that. And one of our guests came one time and sat through our meeting, and we stood up, and I said, okay, with no more business, we'll say the creed. So we said the creed, we adjourned the meeting. She came up to me and she said, where do I sign up? And I said, are you sure you're ready? And she said, that creed is beautiful. That I want to be a part of this. And literally she had been to one meeting, sat through the meeting, read the creed with us, because we have the big creed banner, and she signed up on the spot. So I just, again, I think it's phenomenal that creeds, it's what we do.
It speaks volumes to people, and you don't even realize it until somebody has a story like that.
Yeah, and that's what makes all the difference. I mean, think about it. I mean, every day, especially in these times when we've been locked up and put in into our homes and not being able to get out. I mean, many of us deal with every day the hardships that we can deal with in our own lives, and then we see and we talk to others through the phone or through Zooms, and you hear about the other things that's going on in everybody else's life, and we could find ourselves an optimist. We could fall into that dark spot. We really could. We could get down into that dark spot. But an optimist, when we look at it, how can we get out of that dark spot? How can we do things better? How can we be more excited about what we're doing? And we look for that bright place, that bright light that they say is at the end of the tunnel. And us optimists, we tend to find it. So, for those people that are listening, find something that's positive, attach yourself to it, talk about it, spread the word. I think what a great testament, Shane, right? Where you're out hunting, you're talking about optimism and talking about hunting. I bet you didn't get probably didn't get much game while he's out there talking about optimism. But hey, think about it. I mean, out there hunting, you get acclimated. And that's how we're going to grow, right? We're going to grow through word of mouth and social media. So although you can't do Zoom, Shane, I got a feeling you're doing a great job with the word of mouth. So again, you're doing some great things in a smaller place, but the obstacles, the challenges, everything is the same in a 500 community as a 15,000 community. So keep up the good work. Nick, got anything else?
Well, I think that we're talking about listening to Shane talk about his club and talk about the lady who said, I want to sign up. One of the things that we recite the creed at all of our meetings, end of our meetings, and just about everywhere the optimists come together, we always end up reciting the creed. And one of the little story I like to tell about my own self is that I recited the creed for years and years and years, and I thought it was a beautiful, group of wording. But I had I guess you might say, my optimist epiphany about 16 years ago, when I sort of I moved from reciting the creed to really living the creed. And I think one of the things that I didn't, that was probably the greatest gift Optimus International ever gave to me, was when I made that changeover, because it completely changed my life. And I'll give you just one quick example using the tenet to promise yourself to be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind. I'm one of these kind of people. I get irritated by people that irritate me. I mean, I don't like to wait in lines, and there's all kinds of things that kind of irritate me. And one day, I'll give you an example. I went into one of these big box stores like a mall, like a Walmart. I had to get something anyway, and the line was real long. It was in early afternoon. I'm standing in line, and I'm getting irritated because I'm in a line. I'm going like, why do they have all these checkouts and they're not checking people out? And here I am, and I'm getting a little irritated. And then I noticed that the clerk, the lady that was checking us out, was having a problem with the customer that she was waiting on. I don't know if it was a price problem or whatever, but she was having a little problem. And I got to thinking about her. She'd probably been there since the store opened that morning. Here it is in the middle of the afternoon. She's probably tired or whatever. And I began to think about that person, and I began to think about, how can I make a difference in her life? How can I make her day, so I started concentrating on, instead of concentrating on being angry and irritated because I was having to stand in line, I started trying to figure out how I could, when I got up there and when my turn came, that I was going to make that woman laugh. I was going to make her smile. I was going to make her feel good. I was going to make her day. And that's so it really, talk about giving me peace of mind. I was concentrating on doing something good for somebody else rather than concentrating on myself, because I was a little inconvenienced because I was sitting in line. And let me tell you, when I got up there, I had figured it out. I had that woman laughing. We were smiling. We were talking. I was thinking of things I complimented, or how she put the stuff in my bag, all those kind of things. And we were only there for a short period of time. But when I walked away, that woman was smiling, and I was smiling, and I was feeling good. And I don't know how long that lasted, but for her, when she and I came together as an optimist, I think I made just a little bit, her day just a little bit brighter. And that's what I try to do. And that's what I got out of this creed. That's what that first tenet means to me. And so I try just, when I get up in the morning, trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do for somebody else? How am I going to help somebody else? And so I keep a peace of mind because I'm concentrated on that. I don't concentrate on my problems. I concentrate on how I'm going to make a day or make a moment for someone else. And that helped me through the pandemic tremendously.
Like I said before, that just sums up what this podcast is meant to do. We're here to choose optimism every single day, regardless of what's going on, because you can choose to be optimistic and make the world a better place. I firmly believe that. I mean, I know I'm probably the young guy here on the podcast, but I've been through some pretty dark times, and you can choose to be optimistic every day to make your life that much better. I know moving forward with our club, I mean, I do consider my Optimist Club my second family. I mean, I'm so excited that I was very lucky enough to find someone that chose to say yes when I asked her to marry me. So, my Optimist family has been so supportive of all the stuff moving forward. And, they choose to be a part of my life. We choose optimism every day. And that's what I want this podcast to bring, that just one little act can make the world of difference for one person in the world. And you never know how much, even if you never meet that person moving forward, just to make the difference and be optimistic and change somebody's life, you never know what effect that will have on the world. I know that one of the things I wanted to touch about real quick too is, Shane, I know moving forward, you guys have some stuff coming up that are some amazing fundraisers. One of the things that people don't realize is that you can fundraise a lot of different ways in Optimist International. I know, like we've touched before, my Optimist Club sells Christmas trees every year, and we stripe parking lots. I know that you said you had an interesting project coming up with your fun ride. I know a lot of people, poker run moving forward. People talk about a poker run, they usually think of a motorcycle club. But you guys are doing something completely different and getting creative of choosing that to be a fundraiser for you. Would you just mind explaining for our listeners what you have planned, and just go to show people that you just need to get creative with some of these fundraisers?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, Shane. We, again, one of the big things in our community on Memorial Day and Labor Day, typically one of the bars in town would host a poker run, raise money for one of the organizations in town. It was a one-day event. And again, they did very well. Brings lots of people to our town. Everybody likes to come out and ride in the mountains. One of our board members and one of our founding members actually went to a scavenger hunt out in Washington and brought back the idea. He said, "Hey, what do you think about us? I don't want to compete with, the traditional Saturday of Memorial Day." But he said, "How about if we put together a fundraiser on Sunday? There's already people in town that are already going to be here. It's a 3-day weekend." And I said, I think that sounds fun. And he said, "Well, I think it'll be fun." But he said, "I think we can raise money too." He says, "Because not only are we going to sell, ours aren't poker hands. They're going to be numbers. We're going to have 10 to 12 stops. We are going to sell sponsorships to each stop. Minimum is going to be 125 for the smallest sponsorship, and then the minimum for the big sponsorship is 500, which he already had 2 $500 sponsors committed last year when we had to cancel. But we're going to have 10 to 12 stops. People we're going to provide them for their sponsorship fee. They're going to get a banner for their business, whatever information they want on it. They can choose to either put somebody at their stop or not put somebody at their stop. So if it's a bank, they can put a banker out there and he could talk to people about financing ATVs and UTVs, or they can choose not to. In addition to that, each stop will be numbered, let's just say through 10, 1 through 10. So for $10, we're going to sell everybody one shot at each number. So if they want, and then we're going to have a corresponding prize package at each stop. So if we have 100 people and they all get stop one, then there'll be 100 names in for the stop one prize. And again, our thoughts are we're going to have these somewhere that they're going to be, $200, $300, $400 or higher. I mean, they're going to be pretty significant prizes. And again, people, if they're going out and they want to buy 5 chances at it, then for $50 each stop they go to, they get to pick 5 numbers to come back. We're going to begin and end at the Powerhouse Gym, which is the one that we supported for the heating costs that helps out the kids. He's offered to allow us to use his parking lot, so we'll start and end there. It'll have nothing to do with the bars in town. It won't interfere with their ride the day before, and we should be able to capture those people that are still in town. We already, that same member started a Facebook page for us, and before he posted that our scavenger hunt was on this year, we had 70 members, and within a week we had 90 members right after he posted that scavenger hunt deal. So, and he just told me, I was actually with him last night, and he told me he's already got two commits to our sponsorship. So our hope is that, I mean, we can cover all of our costs and probably make money before we ever start selling the prize pool tickets. So our sponsorships will actually get us into the black on the event. And it just dovetails nicely with something that's been going on in the community for decades.
And for our listeners that probably have never been to Montana, Montana has some of the most beautiful mountains in the entire world that you'll ever see. And Lincoln is sure a pretty spot to be riding right in the heart of the Rocky Mountains. And correct me if I'm wrong, Shane, this is for like 4-wheelers, Rangers, ATV, stuff like that. You get to see some pretty country when you're out here. I mean, it's just not flat like a dining room table. You're out and rolling actual mountains where you're thousands of feet above sea level with trees surrounding you. I mean, it's some of the most beautiful country you'll ever see in your life. I drove a lot of it going to Missoula as a kid. So, I mean, we do have some beautiful landscapes. So this is something completely different. And that's one of the points I wanted to make. If you find something fun, you can get creative and you can raise money because people like to have fun and donate to a great cause. I mean, it's just awesome that your members have stepped up to use donate their parking lot to go there. And like you said, you're piggybacking on something that's already there. It just gives them one more reason to stay and one more reason to have some fun and another reason to help the children of the Lincoln community.
Definitely.
So that's one of the points I want to make of this is if you get creative, there's ways to fundraise that you never would have thought. I mean, who would have thought, Shane, that people could lay down parking lot striping in Great Falls, Montana, and you'd raise $80,000. I never would have dreamed that in a million years. So, well, I just want to say, Shane, I'm really thankful and really grateful that you came on our program today, because it just shows people that if you have the drive, you can get it done, even though there's a pandemic. And I understand we need to take necessary precautions to make things safe, and you guys obviously did that. And it just goes to show that if you promise yourself to be so strong, nothing can disturb your peace of mind. You can get out there and get in your community and get stuff done. This just sums up perfectly what we're trying to do with this podcast, just to show people that there's grassroots people just like them in their community doing stuff for the kids of our community. I mean, I can't tell you enough how excited I was, because before I even knew that even when I knew I was going to ask, and you started telling me all the stuff you guys were doing, I was just like, oh my God, I can't wait to ask him, because he's just exactly what we're looking for to start this program.
Well, thank you, Shane. And I will have to say this, obviously, and you guys all know this because you've been involved with the Optimists longer than I have, but it's, I'm the one that's on the podcast, but it's great members that make it possible, and people willing to give of their time and treasure. And quite honestly, again, you don't need huge numbers to have an impact. You need a few real committed people that are very persuasive with their peers. And that's really all it takes. Once you get the ball rolling, it'll just keep rolling. And literally for this stuff, I mean, we got a couple, 3 people on board, and it just happens. So it's not rocket science. It's just coming up with an idea and then being bullheaded enough to make sure you're going to be successful at it.
I don't think I could have summed that up any better. And like I said, Shane, I'm very appreciative that you were able to share what your club is doing, because like I said, it just summed up perfectly my vision of what I thought this podcast should be. And I mean, you guys just hit the ground running. You were a new club, and like your friend, our mutual friend John Gregory said, they probably didn't know any better.
Exactly.
But it just goes it just goes to show you, like you said, and I just appreciate you being the voice of the people that were able to get this done. Like I said, this is exactly what I was hoping this would cover. You have no idea when like I said, when you and I were talking and I asked you to be part of this, all the stuff you were saying was going, it summed up perfectly what we were looking for. With that, Russ, Nick, do we have any comments and stuff you want to move forward with?
Well, I'm looking forward to our next creed item, right? What is it? Talk health, happiness, and prosperity. Every person you meet. So I'm looking forward to that. And I know, and I listen, and I go, I learn something every time we do this. And I know this stuff doesn't happen naturally, just doesn't happen by itself. Sometimes it's a little work, but I got to tell you, if you put the work into it, you start thinking positive, you get better at it, you get stronger at it, you become more positive, and you develop what I've heard Nick say many times, that attitude of gratitude. So thank you to everybody that's listening to this. Thank you to our special guest, Shane, and thank you to this team for doing and going out and putting that extra a bit of effort in. So we appreciate our members, our listeners, and you guys. So thank you.
And I say ditto to that. What Russ pretty much covered it pretty well. I want to thank you, Shane, and the Blackfoot Valley Club for the great job that you guys are doing, particularly with the obstacles I'm sure you were facing this last year. And I think it's, as Shane said, it's an example of who we are and what we're doing out there in the community. And I think for a new club to show the way is really it's hats off to you guys for doing such a fantastic job. And I know you're going to be a super success as time goes on. Again, thank you so much for the great job you guys are doing.
With that, I'd like to end our second podcast of the Choosing Optimism show with another quote, because I think that as corny as it may sound, quotes and words have a lot of power to make things happen, just to get people excited or thinking about stuff they could do. And one of the things, like I said, that we move forward, we choose optimism every day. And I was reading some stuff, some articles, and one of the things that said, choose optimism, it feels better. And that is such a true story. I mean, you can get up every day and decide that you got up on the wrong side of the bed, or you can get up and say, well, I got up today. Let's see how I can make this day that much better. If you choose to be optimistic, moving forward, it just makes your life and somebody else, it makes your life that much better. But you never know. You might also make somebody else's life that much better. You may not know it right offhand. You may not know it that day, but moving forward, everything will come full circle. You might come around and find out that one of your people that you talked to was a member that received some financial aid from an Optimist Club, and then you turn around and take that and channel it into building a new Optimist Club in your community, just like what happened with the Blackfoot Valley. So if you choose optimism, it feels better, and it can really make your life a better place. I just want to say thank you to our listeners. We're excited about what we're doing. We're excited to reach out to you in this new format. We're excited about what's happening. I want to thank our guest, Shane Lindsay from the Blackfoot Valley Optimist Club. Shane, I'm so excited that you were actually a part of this project. Like I said, you guys promised yourself to be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind, and you guys hit the ground running and did some amazing things and helped children all over the community. And I'd like to thank our international president, Mark Weinsoff, for jumping on and getting us started to tell us what he had started. I'm excited that he has supported our project from the beginning, just to reach out and make things moving forward. And with that, I'll move to closing comments about anybody else that wants to do anything else. And I really appreciate our listeners and our guests, my co-hosts, Nick and Russ, Denise and Sean behind the scenes. Denise, she makes sure that we get everything moving in the right direction. I mean, I know that Nick and Russ and I have no problem visiting with people, but she makes sure that we hit the ground running and have a plan of what we're doing. So she keeps us in line. So I cannot tell you how much we appreciate the people behind the scenes. And with that, if we have no other comments, I just want to say to our listeners, choose optimism. It feels better. Make sure you tune into our next episode, Living the Creed. Promise yourself to talk health, happiness, and prosperity to every person you meet. With